This here is a $340 Canadian gaming PC that I'll be flipping for $500 in my local used market, and I'll be able to crush games in 1080p at medium to ultra settings. So without further delay, let's cue the intro and get to the video.
Today's video is sponsored by me. By going to my website and buying my computers locally, you are not only able to help me in my YouTube journey, you are also getting yourself a really great deal as well as a super aesthetic gaming computer for your new setup. So if you enjoy my content, go check out the website I have linked in the description. Now let's get to the video. Hello everyone, welcome back to the most underrated tech channel, and this is episode 2 of Flipping Wednesday, which means the system you see in today's video is already flipped for a profit. First up is the CPU, and I went with this old but still somewhat capable Intel Core i7-4770 processor. It is a 4-core 8-threaded CPU that came out all the way back in 2013 and got a base of 3.4 GHz with a boost of 3.9 GHz. I was able to get this with a motherboard for just 70 Canadian dollars from Facebook Marketplace. And the motherboard that came with the combo was an ASUS Z87 Expert. It has 4 RAM slots that supports up to 32GB of DDR3 memory, a bunch of SATA ports for extra SATA drive expansions, and beefy heatsinks on the VRMs to help with overclocking if the buyer ever decides to upgrade to a K-series CPU. Also, it has built-in Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, which means I won't have to add a $10 PCIe Wi-Fi and Bluetooth card to the total this time. Now, in order to cool the CPU, I decided to go with this Scythe low-profile cooler that I have laying around in my studio, which cost me nothing as it came from another combo I got last year. And for that combo, I used a stock cooler as it really didn't need an aftermarket cooler on it. But anyways, since the original fan on the cooler has no RGB, I decided to swap it out with an extra Thermalright ARGB fan I had just laying around in the studio, which also cost me $0. Moving on to the RAM, I was able to snipe this brand new kit of Killiser, I don't know, 2x8GB RAM stick clocked at 1600 MHz from AliExpress at the early bird pricing for just 15 Canadian dollars. And that is honestly a crazy value considering it's brand new and shipped to my doorsteps. Keep in mind, a similar kit of RAM will go for around 20 to 30 Canadian dollars used in my local marketplace. Then, for the storage, this time around, since it's an older platform and I wanted to save some build costs, I decided to go with a brand new Asgard 512GB 2.5-inch SATA SSD from AliExpress for just 22 CAD. Obviously, if you were to build something like this for yourself, I would recommend you to just grab a 1TB SSD instead, even in 2024 with the whole pricing increase situation. Next up is the graphic cardo, and I'm once again using a brand new GTX 6060 Ti like in my last week's video, but this time it will only cost me $80 because I was originally going to use a used GTX 1070 that I got from Facebook Marketplace for 80 Canadian dollars, but I ended up selling it to a friend's friend for $130 as they needed a GTX 1070 level graphics card replacement that's also got a DVI connector to it. Then, in order to power everything, I went with a used Thermaltake 550W 80 plus bronze modular power supply, which I got from Facebook Marketplace for just 50 Canadian dollars. And that is definitely not the best deal out there, but considering it was used for only less than a year, plus PSU prices in Canada are super awful, so in my eyes, it's a pretty decent deal. Also, once again, I did not use any cable extensions in today's build. Finally, we are onto the case. And I was originally going to use this Fantax Eclipse G300A case for $70 from Newegg, in which I was also going to be adding 4 ARGB fans to it for an extra $25, as well as a USB 3.0 to USB-C and a USB 2.0 to USB 3.0 adapter for an additional $2. But while I was getting ready for the cable management, I realized that the power reset plug for the case is a single plug which would not fit the Z87 board, as the pin layouts on that board are spread out instead of all together like the newer motherboards. So I had to scrap all of that and grab the full ATX chassis called the Bitfinex Flow from Canada Computers for just $78. And oh my gosh, it's not only a very spacious PC case to work with in the front and the back, it's also got 4 ARGB fans pre-installed and a RGB hub built in, as well as having a hinge mechanism for the glass side panel. And with this case, the build cost actually ended up being cheaper than I originally planned. All in all, here's the price tally for episode 2 of Flipping Wednesday, and it ended up costing me exactly 315 Canadian dollars to build. And up on the screen right now is how much it would have cost you to build something like this right now with parts of the same conditions. And I would definitely not recommend you to follow this list at all. With all of that out of the way, let's get into the benchmarks. With the performances out of the way, I listed this PC for sale on December 29th and sold it just 2 days later for $500 cash, which leaves me with a sweet $185 profit. Please leave a comment down below for any suggestions on what kind of PC parts I should use in my future build videos, and leave a like on this video as well as subscribing to my YouTube channel for an additional day to live. Click on the video that's up on the screen right now for a more recommended and repeatable build guide.